Hello, I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano, and I'm your chef on a mission. Today's mission is Tom Colicchio. Tom Colicchio, I don't want to say picking on him, I just love pointing out sometimes he's not quite that accurate on his menus. For somebody who is in the spotlight with what he does, he's a celebrity chef. He has a lot of people that look up to him, he's written books. He's a very successful restaurateur here in New York and across the country. And sometimes I've caught him stretching the truth on his menu or calling him out. And it's funny because Larry Olmsted in Larry's book on deceptive food, he lists Tom Colicchio as one of the good guys, and he calls out Mario Batali's, one of Mario Batali's restaurant, for lying about, misleading people about the Reggiano, the Parmesan Reggiano cheese, when it was really Grana cheese. Big difference in the price. That's because Reggiano can only make cheese in the copper vats once a day from the previous night's milk, and that morning's milk skimmed the night before, whole milk in the morning, and one time they can fire that kettle up and that's it. They shut the operation down for the day. The consortium does not want them to do anymore. Grana, they can keep running those cycles and make more and more cheese, so Grana production is much more popular. That's not what this video is about. This one is about Tom Colicchio, and people have said, I just made another video on him a couple weeks ago. I'm going to talk about that, and people have said to me, somebody said the other day, go, Marcus, man, I love when you call out people like that, and Tom Colicchio, the average consumer wouldn't even know to look for that kind of wording, and they would just trust what he's saying. So, let's go back and take a look at his menu now, and let's see if he's changed anything. So, I'm on his website right here. Here's his, let's see. Here's Craftsteak in Vegas, okay, Craftsteak in Vegas. This is the restaurant that I was calling out for saying that they had family-raised beef from family farms. The family farms, let's see. So they got, where's it at here? 3-course chef's beer selection, Double R Farms and Snake River Farms right here. Now that's a big difference, Snake River and Double R Ranch. They're doing 500 animals a week. They're doing 7,500 animals a week. These go in feedlots for a few months. These go in feedlots for a full year. Snake River goes in for into a feedlot, consolidated feedlot operation for a full year. Both these beefs do go into the feedlot, by the way. And Tom Colicchio was referring to these as family ranched, family raised beef. And I compared Tom Colicchio to McDonald's because McDonald's can buy family beef too. So technically, here's how this goes, people. You can... Every ranch out there, every beef out there at some point started on a family farm. And typically that's how it works. You start on a family farm, and then it gets auctioned off, then it goes to a mid-feeder, then it goes to the feedlot, and then by that time it's in the hands of some corporation usually, where they're buying from all these family raised beef. So, but it spends time in the feedlot. In the case of Snake River, it's in that feedlot for a full year. In the case of Double R, it's several months. Both those are the same company, by the way. Different specs, different areas. Same area of the country, but different specs for what those go into. So technically, you can literally say that every single beef out there, every single head of cattle has started on a family farm. So if it's started on a family farm, then every restaurant can say that they're serving family farmed, family raised beef, which we know that is a very, very, very far stretch. And I think that's what Tom Colicchio was trying to say, was that this beef here from Double R started on a family farm somewhere. I called his manager. I spoke to the manager of the restaurant, and he specifically said that this does not go into a feedlot. And I knew that he wasn't correct, but I called Snake River and Double R anyway. I called the parent corporation and got a bunch of information on that beef. That's how I know the numbers. So let's go to, now I don't see anywhere on his menu here saying family farms anymore. Let's see. Oh, by the way, diver scallops. Diver scallops happen to be in season right now. This is another food fraud, another very common food fraud item. Outside of after March and between November, chefs like to say they have diver scallops, and they're really not diver scallops. Diver scallops season comes in November and ends second week, I think, in March. And the divers in Maine actually dive for the scallops and hand pick them. That's why they're expensive. For somebody who's an advocate, a real food advocate like Tom Colicchio, I wonder what kind of salmon he's serving. It doesn't say wild. Wild's not in season right now. It doesn't mean you can't get it frozen, which nothing wrong with that. But I'd like to wonder what kind of farmed salmon that is, if that is indeed farmed salmon. Somebody who is against GMOs and somebody who is a real food advocate. Farmed salmon is not the way to go. It's just very, very detrimental to the environment. They are using GMO grains and stuff in this stuff. They're using heavy pesticides, a lot of things. Not something you'd find on an advocate's website menu, food advocate's web menu. Let's see. Let's see what else does he have here. It doesn't list anything about other farms here. Here's some more beef. Ribeye dry age. At one point, all of his menus said that he uses stuff that hasn't used hormones or antibiotics. I don't see that claim on here anymore. Let's go to the About page here. That's dinner. Reservations. Our story. Let's see what we got here. Is there an About? Our story. Craftsteak redefines the concept of a steakhouse by focusing on beef sourced from the world's top ranches and artisanal producers. Dry engineering in the restaurant's aging room. Several ages of beef are on the menu at a given time, allowing guests to experience the various flavors and textures of aged beef. In addition to meat, Craftsteak also serves amazingly fresh fish and shellfish as part of its mouth-watering chilled seafood assortments. Craftsteak was awarded Las Vegas Life Magazine's Epicurean Award for Best New Restaurant in 2003 and Best Steakhouse in 2005. So, it looks like Tom Colicchio has removed Family Farm. Good job, Tom. And he's replaced it with Top Ranchers, world's top ranchers and artisanal producers. I'm not sure, that's a subjective term, of course, world's top ranchers, but I do like that term much better than I do like that much better than from his family farms. Now, the question is all of his beef coming from the world's top ranchers? Is all of it coming? That's a question that we might have to ask one of these guys here. I'm not quite sure, but if you go back to his menu here, meat, I mean, he has a 24-hour beef short rib. He has a ribeye. Now, no farms are listed here. There's no farms. If you're working with the top ranchers in the world, I would think you'd want to highlight their names on here. I don't see their names. Or is he just maybe... Now, here's more beef. Look at this. There's more beef. Here he is actually Double R Ranch. So he's listed it there, but nothing here. Just says Black Angus. That's a very general term, Black Angus. That's another word for commodity beef that comes from who knows where, that just happens to be a Black Angus breed, you know, mostly black, doesn't even, who knows. Here's domestic Wagyu. So that's probably an Angus and a Japanese crossbreed. Now, if you're buying a good Wagyu product, I think you'd want to mention the producer here. There's no producer here. There's some producers in the U.S. that just aren't that reputable. Really not reputable, and there's other ones that do a much better job. A5 Wagyu. We can only assume that's Japanese. There we go, Japanese, and the prices match that. So yeah. So there's a big discrepancy between this beef here, right? You know, we're doing $40 a steak, all the way to $275 a steak. The world's best ranches, I would think, charge more than than 40. I don't know, but I'd like to see I'd just like to see their names listed there of the world's best ranches. And then down here, Chef's beef selection. Double R Ranch and Snake River Farms, 3-course, double R, domestic Wagyu, Japanese Wagyu. Maybe that domestic Wagyu he's talking about is Snake River. Snake River, I believe, does have their Wagyu program. So maybe he is talking about his domestic Wagyu. As Snake River, maybe it's not really like the Imperial brand that I that has a bad reputation. There's a brand called Imperial out there, like Iowa or something, that has a bad reputation. So let's just assume that that's not that. Let's assume that he's buying Snake River there. So with that assumption being made, because I'm kind of doing all the detective work here, and the average consumer can't do that detective work. Average consumer just goes to their story and is going to trust Tom here that he's serving the world's top ranches. World's top ranches and artisanal producers. So double R at 7,500 head a week. I don't know if that's quite artisanal, but that's what he's using, and these are more subjective terms. So yeah, so I guess Tom Colicchio did listen to me. Maybe he saw my video. So good job, Tom, on rewording that. I'm really not picking on this one. You did a much better job for the position that you're in. So good job, Tom. Let's give it good work at all the other places as well. And I'm going to be in Vegas. Maybe I'll stop in the Craftsteak and check it out and ask some more questions while I'm there. I'm going to be there with the 2 conferences. And I'm leaving next week. I'll be there with a restaurant, my restaurant mastermind group, about 100 other restaurant owners from across the country. A mastermind on marketing, operations, all kinds of things, social media, food, all that kind of stuff. So maybe I'll round some people up and we'll head over to Craftsteak and I can ask some more questions. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like my videos, please hit like, subscribe to my channel. Thank you, Tom, for rewording. Thank you very much for rewording your menu. Makes me much happier now. So that's it.